Today we're going to be working on my daughter's 2000 Chevy Silverado 1500 with a 5.3 liter motor in it. This particular vehicle she's recently purchased and she loves it, so let's see what we can do with it. Alright, well, we're underneath this 2000 Chevy Silverado 1500 5.3 liter truck, and we're going to work on this oil level sensor that's in the side of the oil pan. I love these oil level sensors. Let me show you the new one here. A little bit awkward under the truck to show it to you, but this is the float end. This is what goes up and down that triggers the contact closure that drives the signal to the dash. It tells you if you have low oil level. The downside is, oil service is about as gunky a service you can come by. You can expect these things over time to become blocked and stop working correctly, become gummed up. But I still think it's well worth it. They're inexpensive. You can get them on online for anywhere from, I don't know, 18 to 30 bucks, and you can get them at your local parts houses, usually for around 30 bucks. And I think they're still well worth it. Can save you destroying a motor with low oil level, depending upon who's driving the vehicle and how much you watch your oil level. The trickiest thing in this whole thing is literally it just screws into the side of the block. But the trickiest thing about it is the plug itself. The plug goes in this end. I'm hoping you can see this. The plug goes in here, but then there's a clip that comes into this square, and it hooks on a hook there. So you have to use a pick or something. I'm going to do it here for you. You have to use a pick or something from the top to try to hook the clip and lift it. And once you're able to get under that clip and lift it, then you're good to go. In our case, and probably yours as well, that's full of oily, dirty, debris. So we had to clean it out of there. But once you're able to lift it, this thing pretty well comes out of there straightforward like that. So there's the plug for it. Now it's just a matter of removing the actual sensor. Now we're using a 30mm wrench. It's close to 30 millimeters. It might be slightly less. You'll notice it was extremely loose. That's because it doesn't take a whale of a lot to make this thing seal. This particular model has an O-ring seal, and we want to make sure that O-ring seal is not only there, but we also want to lubricate that seal. So out comes the old one, and you might notice, I'm not sure if you can see from your perspective, but the thing, it likes to get hung one side or the other. And again, that's just because it's a pretty nasty service that we're taking this, that we're putting that float into. But hey, if it saves your motor from running too low on low oil, that's worth it. So I'm going to take a little bit of oil and just lubricate this O-ring. I guess one thing I didn't mention, and I apologize, is this is best done obviously around the time of an oil change. We're changing the oil in this vehicle today. We've just purchased this vehicle recently, and so never trust somebody else's oil change records, in my opinion. So we've got that now. That O-ring's in place, and we've now lubricated it. So we're going to screw it in there. Now look, this thing is clocked. This square area and this opening for the clip needs to be facing up. This little dot on the bottom needs to be facing down. That way it's measuring low oil level and not upside down telling you got high oil level. So not exactly sure how all that works with this particular sensor, but we're going to put it in the way it came out, which is certainly what I would suggest to you, unless somebody else has messed it up before you. So we're in there finger tight now. We're going to tighten it until we're clocked in the same position as it was in. Getting pretty snug here. It is plastic. We don't want to break it. I think we're pretty good right there. We're pretty well flat across the bottom, flat of the hex here, and so I'm good with that. And we're going to plug this little wonder right back in. I didn't mention it, but the negative battery cable is disconnected. Anytime you deal with electrical in a modern car, disconnect your negative battery terminal. All right, so we're going to put it in, make sure it clicks and engages, and it did. And so that little job is finished. We've also changed the oil filter. So we're going to go fill this thing up with oil, and then we're going to hope and assume that our low oil level light is turned off. Easy repair, well worth the effort considering what it can save you. So don't just dummy it out. There's, I think, some conversation out there about how you can just put a wire around this thing and jumper it. But why would you bother? It's just not worth the effort of jumping it. It's less effort to change, or as much effort to change out the sensor. You're doing an oil change anyway, so your hands are dirty, you're under the truck, and it's going to cost you 25 bucks, and it might save you an engine. So I'd suggest that you go ahead and do it. It's easy enough. Take care.